Good evening. It's now 5:45 and I call the workshop of the Victoria City Council to order. Our workshops are informal, and with that, we'll dive right into the agenda. We have 2 items on the agenda this evening. The first item is to interview to fill 5 vacancies on our Planning Commission. There are 3 vacancies for full voting member appointments and 2 vacancies for alternates. So just like in previous years, our plan is to get through all the interviews and then open the floor for council discussion. So, council, if that is agreeable to you, we can begin our process. I'm seeing nods, so let's go. So applicants, I'm going to go from my right to left here. Does that make sense? We're going to start with Jarrett, then Mr. Iverson is next, Mr. Pedersen, and then Mr. Ream. So when your name is called, we want you to give up to a 5-minute overview of why you'd like to be appointed to the Planning Commission. Mr. Kuhn, you can start. Why don't you come to the podium so we can hear you? Welcome.
I'll set the time.
Thank you, Madam Mayor and council members. My name is Jarrett Kuhn. I live at 820 Air Lake in Victoria. I have been a resident of Victoria for 22 years. I am an office manager, controller for an asphalt company for the past 24 years, which has helped me understand.
Hang on just a second, Mr. Kuhn. We're going to get this thing.
You're being overwritten.
Yeah.
Sorry.
There we go.
Okay.
There we go. I'm sorry.
That's right.
Yes, he gets extra time.
That's all right. I don't need extra time. I'll leave it for John. Which has helped me to understand what developers go through when they're going through projects and getting neighborhoods put in place. I've served on my neighborhood HOA board, understand the challenges that go along with doing that and working with association roles. I am currently on the Planning Commission, finishing my 3-year term. Love the opportunity to continue to serve the city and appreciate your consideration for another term.
Terrific. Thank you.
Thank you.
Mr. Iverson, please.
Very good, thank you.
Welcome.
Mayor, city council members, city staff. John Iverson, 1032 Anthony Way, here in Victoria, of course. Been a resident here for just about 10 years. And like Jared also, I'm on the HOA and have been on the HOA since we moved in, brand new development. But I've been on the Planning Commission for this 3-year term, and have been the chair for the last year. Took over from Scott Stenslin. And I am interested in serving another 3-year term, and I have given myself a mandatory 2-term limit. So I think that the opportunity for someone else, new input, new approach, is essential. We do have an extremely talented, knowledgeable group. 2 gentlemen on either side of me are an example of that, and I think we've worked really well. I think that my approach is a team approach, very much a team approach. And everyone has an opportunity to say whatever they want to say, and in terms of agreeing, well, fine, and disagreeing, that's equally as fine. So my overall objective is to continue as I have been. And I think we have some very well-defined challenges in a whole bunch of different areas that we can only function as a team in all areas. And I've had the opportunity to interact with the Park and Rec at the same time. And that's kind of interesting because we're all in this same business, you know. And so, so that would be my approach going forward. So I would appreciate your consideration. And if you elect to do that, I look forward to another 3-year term. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Mr. Iverson. Mr. Pedersen, please.
Christian Pedersen, 1144 Savannah Trail, Victoria, Minnesota. Thank you, council members, Madam Mayor. Where do you want me to start? I've been in the city of Victoria for 20 years. I've been a business owner for 13 years. 15 years ago, I got involved with the Homeowners Association in Savannah Valley. We worked on streets, parks, and all sorts of things with the city. Moving forward from there, I'm a graduate of the City of Victoria Citizens Academy with Jarrett. He forgot to mention that as well. And then I've got a lot of different hobbies. I'm coach for a soccer team, manager for a soccer team. I'm treasurer for the Twin Cities Quality Assurance Association, work with a bunch of different groups. But anyway, moving to my City of Victoria stuff. Back in 2017, Ann asked me to be part of the Park and Rec Board. I said, sure, let's try it out, and I enjoyed it. I got a chance to work with John's wife in that group. And then 3 years ago, I was meeting with a few folks and wanted to get involved with the Planning Commission, and was put into the second alternate role. And over the course of the last 3 years, 3 people have quit or moved on or gone into other roles, and I took on the vice chair position, working alongside Commissioner Iverson. You ask why I want to be part of it? To have a voice in decision-making, to serve the community, gives me a chance to learn about a bunch about not only laws, but also the city of Victoria and other areas. I've got this sense that I like to be in the know. While I'm no longer part of the Savannah Valley Homeowners Association, people still come to me asking me all sorts of questions because I've been there I have been involved for so long. As you all know, it also helps me to prep for the future for other positions that I may have in or may be interested in for the city of Victoria. And last but not least, I love working with Marty, and he asked all of us to come back if we could. And I guess that's why I'm here. I guess I show up.
Great.
Anyway, thank you.
Thank you. Thank you. Mr. Ream, welcome.
Thank you.
The new kid on the block.
I am definitely the new kid on the block. So, Mayor McMillan, council members, city staff, my name is Eric Ream. I live on 695. I thought it was Interlaken, but maybe I had that pronounced wrong. Been here since September. So why am I here tonight? You know, I am new to the community, but I have a history of getting involved. I worked for the Minneapolis Park Board for over a decade. During that time living in the city, I got onto my neighborhood association down in South Minneapolis. I was the secretary the first year. I was the vice president for a couple of years, moved to the next community, and there I was asked to join that neighborhood association as well. So this felt natural when I was looking in next door and saw this opportunity. It doesn't happen very often. So that's part of it. And then, you know, just in terms of being a representative of the community, I live along the trail. There's lots of interesting things that I'm going to learn. I can't wait until spring. So I've got a lot of interest in this opportunity. You know, so what's my contribution? A little bit about me. I've got an environmental science degree that I emphasize admin and policy, and I've spent most of my career working for government or being a consultant to government. Very community driven. Again, working for the Minneapolis Park and Board, kind of by definition, you are working to serve a community. So I just appreciate that opportunity, and I've kind of taken that on in the work that I've done. I have a finance degree to back that up with an MBA in finance. So I really kind of look at both ends of the book. And in my work experience has been working for the Port of Seattle, working for the Minneapolis Park Board, working for the state of Minnesota, running finance programs at that level, and then more recently being a developer of renewables. So I go through and participate in planning commission meetings. I've helped as an advisor other communities in the state of Wisconsin revamp or look at their ordinances in terms of how to appropriately allow solar to move into that community in a respectful way. And through all of that, I've worked a lot with governance, and I understand how it works and some of the things you need to do and the stakeholder engagement process associated with all of that. So, that's a little bit about me. So some of the things that I think I will bring, if given this opportunity, is really an understanding of the insights of how administrative work functions. At a basic, I'm really interested in that stakeholder engagement process. Again, like you were mentioning, getting different voices, different opinions, different insights, and then finding the way to get the best out of the circumstance while understanding that we're working within the constraints of what the rules are and don't play outside of the box very often, because that's going to lead to downstream issues. And then in terms of just the way I think about planning, I have a sense for resiliency, both in terms of financial, but in terms of like looking at the horizon, but looking over. And this is a community that I understand from coming here recently is it's growing pretty fast. A lot of people that I know, when they hear about Victoria, go, oh yeah, it's a beautiful place. Lots of people are moving there. So it's an exciting place and an exciting opportunity for me if I'm so fortunate to join. So thank you.
Terrific. Well, thank you, Mr. Ream, and welcome to Victoria as a new resident. We're glad you found your way out here. It is gorgeous. We agree with you. We agree with you. So the good news here is there are no losers because we have 5 positions to fill and we have 4 people willing to fill those positions. But what our job is to pick the people who will serve on the committee or on the commission and then choose an alternate. So that's kind of our charge here this evening, council. And so with that, I will open it up for council discussion, questions for the candidates, anything that you want to comment or talk about.
I just want to know who wants to be the alternate.
Well, to Mr. Pedersen's point, he got chosen as a second alternate and got moved pretty quickly onto the commission.
Yeah.
It is such an important role for the city council, the planning commission is. You guys do a lot of heavy lifting on our behalf and dig into lots of details with Marty's help and the help of the staff. And so the job is a big one, and it's an important job for us particularly. So we appreciate the work that you do very much. So with that, council, questions?
Yeah.
Mr. Gunderson.
How much are alternates allowed to participate in the meetings?
Councilmember Gunderson, Mayor, members of the commission, good question. Glad to clarify that. So we do invite alternates to participate in all of the meetings. If there is a full gamut of the regular members, they are not allowed to vote, but they are allowed to participate in discussion. And anytime a voting member is absent, so anytime we drop below that 7 number, the alternate would move into a voting member for that meeting. But they are certainly invited and encouraged to attend in every meeting and participate in the discussion.
I think and the reason I ask for council is that I think the 4 gentlemen we have in front of us have 3 certainly serve us very well in deliberations, and Mr. Ream's background certainly would serve us, in my opinion, just as well. Understanding where he's coming from, not to mention that he's got an advanced degree from Hamlin. I mean, those guys are geniuses. Yes. And all kidding aside, I think that's great. I think Mr. Ream understands there's a lot to learn about Victoria and where we want to go and what we're really excited about and where we're at. And I think it would, it's where we're always trying to build a bench and to get people involved, and we want to hear what they have to say. So I'm glad that alternates have a voice in to get there, to kind of say, hey, this has been my experience, and I think that serves us very well. So I'm happy with what we've got. So other than that, guys, good job.
Other thoughts or comments from council?
Well, now that I know that he would definitely be part of the meeting, I think all four should be advanced. And since you're the new kid on the block, I think we'll make you the alternate.
The first alternate?
And then the first alternate, and then as we progress, you'll be part of that and you'll get to know everyone. It'll be a good learning curve for us and you, if you're okay with that.
I wasn't going to volunteer. I knew that coming in.
Council, how does council feel like, can we get a consensus on reappointing our three current commissioners to their seats again, and then naming Mr. Ream as our alternate one?
Yeah,
It looks like we have consensus here to do that. Do we need a motion, a formal motion to do that?
It'll be happen at the council meeting.
Okay.
what's it? Yeah.
At the council meeting?
Okay, terrific. So you guys made it very easy for us, so thank you for that. You're all very well qualified, and we appreciate so much your volunteerism and your service to this community. It is, we're grateful for it, and it is much needed from the council's perspective, so we appreciate that. So thank you very much for stepping forward and saying, pick me. We appreciate it.
Thank you.
All right. So with that, next on the agenda is Cindy. We're looking for input or consensus for the proposed precincts at this time. And you will bring a formal, let me back up here a little bit. We're going to move on to our second agenda item, which is to review the precinct boundaries for the 2022 elections, which are coming up this fall. So presenting this evening is City Clerk Cindy Patnode. So Ms. Patnode, will you go ahead and...
Yep, so up on the board, or the picture, whatever, the screen, there's the precincts that we have I've gone through and looked to see what would be the best breakout for the city. It would remain, and I'm sorry, but I did transpose the 2 and 3 in our packet, so I fixed that. I found it out this morning. So precinct 1 will remain the same as it was in previous years. Precinct 2 is at the Park and Rec, and that doesn't change at all. Precinct 3 and 4, it was combined, and there's so much growth in that area. So it looked for lines and stuff. That 3, as you can see, is in the green. That would be a precinct by itself, and then 4 would also be a precinct by itself. And then because Victoria's annexing and we kind of hopped over some property in Victoria, we have that number 5, and that's for a new precinct. Will be expanding as we annex more properties. And Victoria is run by precincts, and the voting is all at large. So there's no legislative lines that we have to follow with this. From when we approve ours, then it goes to the county, and then the county commissioners determine their lines, and they try to stay within precincts, but they could divide a precinct too. So that's not our concern, that we just have to get them close. I put the numbers together, the population-wise, to try to get that. The unknown with elections going forward is a lot of people have absentee voted, but we just don't know if they'll continue to do that or if they'll want to vote in person. So some of the numbers in precinct 2 is kind of high. It's like 2,500 for registered voters. And it will grow because of the 2 developments that have just been approved in there. But if half the people vote absentee, we're still sitting pretty good. So my request is, or for the proposal, is to have these precincts located where they are. And so I just want to get your input if you feel that makes sense for those precincts.
So Cindy, so precinct 5, for instance, is very small, and we would not set up a separate voting precinct for that precinct. We would have them vote with someone else.
Yes, I'd put that precinct right now. We'd have to still buy the equipment because the county has to, they have to program it. So we'd have to buy the equipment, but it would either go into 3 or 4 as the location for this time around until we get bigger. And we
Vote.
Yes, to vote. And we, I wouldn't get more, I'd just have judges for 4 precincts and then that one. If we're lucky, we might have 10 people in that precinct for this year, but the precincts are for the next 10 years.
Right. So, and these lines will be good for 10 years. So as precinct 5 grows, we won't juggle those numbers around before the next census. Is that correct?
Correct. They just add to it. I haven't gone through a lot of annexations before, have you, in your cities?
No, and Mayor, members of the council, just to piggyback on what Cindy is saying. So with precinct number 5 is obviously the recently approved Hunters Brook development and the Marsh Hollow development. There is an opportunity that there may be folks living there by the November elections. There's some homes going up, and I think in the spring it will, building will increase in that rate, but it's likely to be a very, very small number by this time around, so.
Terrific.
And from this, on number 5, it actually, they haven't gotten it at the county when I made this map, but there is, we do go to the railroad tracks and a little beyond the railroad tracks. So it'll encompass that. And I will find out from the state how to incorporate that language into the resolution that you guys will be approving at the next meeting if this goes through.
Okay,
guys-
terrific. Council, questions?
Sounds good.
Just going off of 5, is it going to have to come before us every time, or will that be in the plan? So when we do the planning, when we annex, it'll just say this development is a part of precinct 5 in that area.
That's
so that
my
just grows.
intent, and I'll verify it with the state, and then our attorney will be looking at the resolution that you guys will be before you.
So I just want to make sure that we're not having to waste your time and
Yeah.
have time on having to continually
Yeah.
approve and the development and a
Right.
precinct.
We'll find that out, and if it's part of the resolution that gets approved with our, when Marty puts those together, we'll make sure we do that. And then what we do have to do every year by December 31st is always just say where the locations are of the precincts. That'll come before the council every year, but that's just a standard thing.
And another question would be on 2, if we have high numbers, are we just about done growing in precinct 2? Are we pretty flush in terms of developments? Because I would say 1, 3, and 4, obviously 5, have the potential to continue to grow. And 2 would be hopefully done.
Councilmember Gunderson, Mayor, members of the council, so you recently, this past year, approved the Pulte development, Madeline Trail, which had 42 homes, and then you've seen a sketch plat for the Brookmore Lennar development, which would include 80 homes. I do not believe there is any additional developable property in that precinct 2 that would be coming with, large scale development proposals. Again, unless the University and Arboretum decided they didn't want their property anymore, but I don't foresee that happening.
I don't foresee that happening either. All right, very good.
Okay.
All right,
great, thank you.
council, any other questions? Thoughts, concerns? Do I see consensus on the map that we've got in front of us here? It looks like it. Okay, go ahead, and then we'll have you work out that language so that all that new annexation gets to be part of precinct 5.
Okay, thank you, and that's all I needed on that.
All right, terrific. And with that, that's everything on our workshop for this evening. So can I get a motion to adjourn?
Motion to adjourn?
Second?
We have a motion and a second. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? Motion carries. We will be back at 6:30 with the regular council meeting.